Hello, this is Sabina at Cross Keys Crafts. Today with a larger project. I've only planned this on paper. I haven't written down too many measurements. I thought I'd just go for it. I only need one of these, so it's no point in me designing one before I take the video. It's never what I do anyway. What this is all about is one of my friends, she is a big fan of these. I'm not naming the brand now. These designer backpacks or little rucksacks. Many of them are Disney themed or any sort of franchise themed. And she asked for one for her birthday, for one of those bags. But the friends and I who chipped together, we decided to rather give her money so she can choose her own. But I said I would like to build one of these rucksacks from my cardstock for us to gift this money in. So we will see from the thumbnail what it will look like. So it's basically, I've drawn a picture here. It looks a bit wild, but it's basically a backpack 3D with embellishments. The final embellishments I will do off camera and not include, because I know I want to print off Disney pictures from the internet and stick them on, and because they're copyrighted, I don't want this to be part of this video. So I want to have a little pocket on the front, and I want there to be, rather than it opening at the top, that could get really complicated, although you could have a flap there. I don't really want to lose that shape. I think I will have the opening on the side so that she can open it, and my idea is also to create a wallet to put into there that we can put the money into. And this is all I've done. I've written down my maximum measurements because I've got a cardboard box that I would like this to fit into, and that's really all I've done so far. Well, and I've chosen my cardstock. Because I want to put embellishments on the top, I wanted a fairly neutral cardstock. And I've picked this really colourful pad. I got this in Germany. It's from Craft Sensations, but because everything's in English, it might have been available in the UK. It might be available where you are. I bought that, I'd say, about a year ago. I'm not quite sure. And this sheet here I can use for her birthday number. She's going to be 30 this year, and I can put her birthday in there as well because it's got the months as well. And for the outside, I have chosen, well, basically for the front and back, I've chosen this paper here, just little hearts in rainbow colours, and I thought this will make it easy for whichever pictures I print off to sort of harmonise with either of these colours. And then for the side, because I wanted something to go with this, I've just chosen these rainbow stripes. I'm not sure yet whether I will have them facing this way or that way, probably this way. But that's all I've done. I think what I need to do first is to outline the actual shape of that rucksack. And because I want to reinforce everything with heavier weight cardstock, because this is only 220, I believe. Yeah, 220. I've picked a 300 GSM cardstock, so I think my overall size will be A4. And all I want to do here, let me get this out of the way, is basically to create the top shape and the bottom. I think rather than having it as it would be naturally a bit rounded, I think for the sake of building this, I will actually leave it square as it is there. So what I thought was that you can either, well, it's up to you how round you want your rucksack to be. The most of the rucksacks that I'm talking about from this brand, they've got a sort of like an oval shape, a bit more coned and domed. So I thought I will use an oval die to create that. So, and the first thing I need to do is to find the middle of this piece. So this is obviously 8 1/4. So I need to mark this here at 4 and whatever that is. Is it 1/8? I think it is. So that is the, oh, let me zoom in a little bit. So that's where I marked the middle. So then my idea was just to take this here. Let me just think how I meant to do that. I think it doesn't really matter as long as I have that as the highest point there. So I'm just laying this down here until I think I'm happy with that shape. So I could have it a little bit lower. Yeah, I think I like that. So I'm just tracing this here now. So if my hand's covering this a little bit. So I've actually got two pieces here. I think I will cut them at once. Tell you what though, I need to get my scissors from the other room. I knew when I left them there this morning that I would be needing them. Still left them there. So I'm just cutting this. Oh, I might have some glue on this. Doesn't want to cut. So if you've got excess glue, it might not cut. I'll use the bigger scissors anyway. This is only for the inside, so I'm not too fussed about this at the moment. Wow, something's wrong with the cardstock there. Doesn't want to cut. Bear with me. Maybe I have to do it sheet by sheet. Yeah, that's the difference there. It was too thick. So I'm just cutting here. So I'm actually zooming out a little bit again. So I'm now taking this piece and I'm flipping it over and put it on here on the other corner. And also remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. Nobody's getting their ruler out to see if that is the same. So just tracing that. And then I've got even sides. So, and then I can place it on the other one, trace that here and cut that out as well. I'll quickly do this off camera. I've now got my pattern paper upside down. I'm making sure that this faces upwards the pattern. And I want to create flaps all the way around, or tabs. So when I place this down, I don't have enough space to have tabs at the bottom, but that doesn't matter. We can create those with a base. But I'm moving this away from the edge. I've just eyeballed this. This is about 1/2 inch. Maybe I can make a proper 1/2 inch. So, and what I need to do is just glue this down. I will just use my normal magic glue. You could even use a glue stick if you don't want to be too wasteful, or you could even use the Collall glue, because that's a construction glue. I might actually do that this time. I haven't used that in quite a while, because Collall makes everything very sturdy, so I think I'll do that this time. And once I've done this, I will cut this flap sort of all the way around. So I won't cut anything off the top, just will cut a curve. It doesn't have to be super neat, and I will do the same here on this side, and I will do that with the other piece as well. So a little word of warning, be very mindful when you use glue like Collall glue. It's got a very strong smell. I just opened the window whilst I was off camera. I made sure my cat's not in here to inhale the fumes. You shouldn't inhale the fumes either, so just be very mindful with that. So in the meantime, whilst my window was open and my camera was off, so I've cut these out here, the two pieces, and they are drying nicely. And I've also cut one of the 12 by 12 sheets into 3 strips of 4 inches wide. I think one will be enough. I'll find out in a moment. It all depends on your, well, on your size overall, but also on your curve, I believe. So the other thing I've taken out, so I don't forget this to glue down before I assemble everything, is I need some ribbon that I use for the straps, and also a strap at the top. And I just got 2 out. One I will use, and one I just wanted to show you. This, for example, is from the range. So this is 3mm wide. That's sort of a cream colour. So they are really cheap. You might have something in your local craft store, and I think that'll just look fine. It's a sturdier satin ribbon. You don't need anything too fancy. If you wanted to, you could go the whole hog and put some clasps on it, but I don't even want to do that. So I need to create a little loop here that goes on the top, just like this, like you would have at a rucksack. So I'm just cutting that off. Cut this off straight as well. What I will do though, although I'm gluing it down anyway, is just to seal off the edges, just with the heat from my lighter here. So just a little bit. So then I need to cut the tabs. No, I'm doing the scoring first. I mustn't forget that. This way I've got the ruler here. So to make it easier to fold these tabs over, I'm placing my ruler. I do apologise that the bottom is cut off. I can't go any higher with the camera, but I'm basically doing the same all the way down. So I'm placing this on the edge of my white cardstock, so that when I go down like this, I'm not putting a mat underneath. I could do, you know, like a soft mat. I'm just going along here just to create a score line, just from that corner there. I'm doing the same on this side, and we'll do that on the other piece as well. Just up and down with a little bit of force. And I'm also trying to score around this piece here without ending up on the white. It's actually not too difficult, because that will make it so much easier to fold the tabs over. There we go. So, and because these stay straight, I only need to cut them before the curve starts. But with these, I have to cut these in and make little teeth. So I'm cutting them in. I'm not even sure how much that is. Like every, just over a 1/4 inch. It's really up to you. Doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm cutting them to the score line. The rounder it is, the smaller you need your teeth to be. Take your time to do that. One more there. So, and then I need to cut little wedges. Let me zoom in for that to show you what I mean. So when I've got the little teeth here, I need to cut little wedges out. If you wanted to, you could skip the first step and just cut triangles to start with, but I like to do it this way. I've got a bit more control then. Oh, I think I went off camera there. Apologies for that, because I forgot I'm zoomed in. So I will do this off camera on both pieces, and then I will fold these all upwards like this. Just popping in on the second piece to show you it's actually much easier to cut triangles out to start with, because I found when I was cutting the wedges out, the one I was cutting on one side was getting in the way when I would try to cut the other one out. So this is definitely easier and quicker. I now need to stick my ribbon for the top down. Make sure also, if you've got a shiny side and a smooth side, I think these are okay, that you've got it the right way around. So I've marked the middle of my cardstock here again. Just zoom in a little bit more, move that down a bit more. And the reason being is, wherever I place this ribbon, I'm losing these tabs. I will have to replace them with some new tabs afterwards. So I'm just flattening this out a little bit and placing this. It's up to you how wide you want it, but you just stick it down either side. You decide as well how much you want to have sticking out at the top. And I think I will just tape it down with sellotape before I glue it down properly, because then that makes it easier for me to align this. So I think I'm happy with that. So just on the corner a little bit here. Could have used some removable adhesive at the moment. So I now need to mark the tabs I'm getting rid of, which are these two and these two, because this is where it's sticking out. So I have to cut those off. Which can be a bit tricky. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just cutting on the score line. I'm not cutting the score line away. And if it's a bit uneven, you can just go in again a little bit. So that'll do. So I can now glue these down. I think I will just use this glue. I thought about using some red tape, but red tape and I are not big friends at the moment. The important thing is that you've got plenty of glue where the ribbon hits the edge here, because this is where you want it to be firm. This is a bit stuck. And I'm not too bothered about how this looks on the inside, because the recipient won't see that at all, because it's at the top and the opening will be at the bottom. So what I will do afterwards, I think, is put a piece of scrap cardstock on the top just to hold this in place. But I'm letting this dry first. I might even keep the tape as it is, it doesn't matter. So as I said, I'm leaving this to dry and we'll just cover it nicely. From the scraps I cut off here at the top, I just cut two little pieces. They're just over 3/4 of an inch. It doesn't really matter. All you want to do is replace those tabs. So they're just little squares that I eyeballed. So I'm just scoring them in the middle. Use a ruler for that. That's better. Same here. So I'm just folding them in half. And then on one side, I'm cutting new teeth. So make sure they're not too wide, they're fine. So there we go. And what I'll do with these is I place them here where I have taken the tabs off. You see, ideally you need to make sure that you have a bit of a curve there, but because the ribbon sits there, it doesn't really matter. Just make sure you place them down on a curve. If you want to be very precise, you could have a little curve in there and follow the curve you have there, but it's fairly straight there, so fairly straight there, so I'm not too bothered about it. I now take my front piece here, and I have changed my mind a little bit in the meantime. I will not have the opening on the side. I will actually have it as part of the front pocket. So the front pocket can be sort of folded out, opened up, and then gives access to the inside. So I need to cut an aperture into this front here. And I think the aperture or the pocket on the front would be about this size. So I'm going... yeah, I think I will go 4 inches up. Yeah, that looks good to me. And let me just check. I'm going in at 3/4 of an inch from either side. Just do this properly. So 3/4 of an inch here, 3/4 of an inch there. So, could get my proper tools out. I've got this triangle, but do I know where it is? No. So I'm just marking 3/4 here again. Sometimes I like to do shortcuts and then I have to stop myself not doing shortcuts because you want to be precise here really. So 3/4 here. So I can connect these two dots here now for the 3/4. Connect them to here. No, it looks straight, but so. And then, yeah, it does look a bit wonky. Do this one again. And then I'm going through this 4-inch dot there. Let me mark 4 inches here as well, so I know I'm being straight there. If you have got a huge die cutting machine, you might be able to do that ahead of gluing this down, just before you stick this down, because this is an A4 sheet, but I only have a small die cutting machine. So, and obviously change my mind halfway through this. Oops. So, there we go. And again, this will be on the back. I will tidy this up a little bit, but I don't need to erase too many lines. So I will get my cutting mat out. I don't like cutting on this one here. And I will use my craft knife. I'll show you this. I'm really happy with this. It's from the Weirdo brand. It might actually be in the list of things I always list at the bottom. And I will cut this out. I'm being a bit mindful because I'm cutting from the back that it doesn't show too much in the cardstock. I try not to tear. I try to cut properly through, although some of that will be hidden by the mechanism anyway. So I do this quickly off camera. I just use my metal ruler and the craft mat underneath with a craft knife. I don't think I need to show you this. So I've cut this out. Obviously, I need to say at the beginning, or maybe put a disclaimer in, make sure you have stuck this paper down properly. It wouldn't have mattered as a full panel, but you want the edges to be nice. Although I will probably put a little strip of something at the top for when it opens up. And I'm really getting excited about this project at the moment. I think this will look so cool. So I'm trying to figure out at the moment how I can open it like this. I know I will probably put a magnet opening. I will have a flap on the top, and I want this to open at an angle. So I'm thinking about creating a concertina fold, and I'm thinking about actually creating that from circles. But I will, I think, make a coffee now, work that out, and then come back to show you what I want to do. No, I won't have my coffee break at the moment because I just remembered something. I thought if I don't do it now, I will forget that. And that is to attach the ribbon for the back that is for the shoulder straps. So what I need to do, same as I have here on the top, I will have to place one piece of the ribbon somewhere up here. So I will have to create some more of these tabs where I'm cutting them away, and they will sit somewhere at the top here, I suppose. And then I want them just have a little bit of room there, just sort of like, you know, just like that maybe. And then I will attach this on the inside here. And again, that means I have to cut a little bit of the tab away. I will make sure it's even on both sides. I will measure one strip, measure the other one, so they are even, and I will glue them down evenly as well so they match. Yeah, and as I said, I'll do that now before I have my coffee, otherwise I will forget that. Popping in with 2 more tips before my coffee. So if your ribbon should be wider than 2 of these tabs, I suggest you cut these individually, not as one piece, because you don't really want to lose that curve here on the edge here. And the other thing, oh, by the way, I Stuck these down with red tape. I put the red tape on the cardboard though, not on the ribbon, because otherwise you'll never get the release paper off. So I just covered these a little bit with the tabs here as well. And the other suggestion is, I've seen Sam Calcott do that when she does her bags. Put these at an angle. She's got a rucksack, by the way, on her YouTube channel, but it's one that is flat at the top, I believe, and I wanted this really round one. So yeah, put these at an angle for a more natural shape, and then it sits like this. This, I think, because I will open this, I will cover with another panel once this glue has dried. Just make sure your glue does go to the edge there, so you're not lifting anything up here. And I just wanted to give you the measurements here at the bottom, because I said I just eyeballed that. So I cut my tab away at 1 inch there, and yeah, that's another 1 inch gap for that ribbon here. And I will go in and replace the tabs here now before I stick a panel down to make this look nice. Probably a quite big panel that covers half of this A4 sheet. So I'm popping in to show you this. So I have covered this here with another piece of pattern paper. This has actually got some tags on it. I quite like the look of that. And the flaps I replaced here. This is a thinner cardstock because I didn't want there to be too much bulk there. So that's just a little piece of, I'd say 130 GSM, not much more than that. So for the opening in the front, my idea is that this sort of opens up like this and sits at a 90-degree angle. I've just realised I need to put a bit more glue on there. So my idea was to create either quarter circles or half circles that I can then fold up, and then that sort of sit here. I don't have, as I said before, a die cutting machine that's big enough to die cut a circle that is 8 inches in diameter, because this is 4 inches high. What I do have though is this circle cutter. I can't remember, I know Sam Calcott sells that as well, but I don't think this is a Sam Calcott one. It might be from Craft Stash though, I can't remember. Anyway, I'll link to it below when I find it. And this is perfect for cutting bigger circles if you don't have the dies or if you don't have the die cutting machine. So what you need to do for that is you need to set it to your diameter. I made the mistake before and wanted to set it to 4 because it's 4 inches, but the diameter of that circle would be 8 inches. So there is a little arrow here. You can loosen this screw here, put it onto 8 inches, tighten it. And because I only need half circles or even quarter circles, I won't even bother doing a full one. I have just picked a sort of lighter weight cardstock, I'd say 160 maybe, because I need to fold this quite a few times. And when it's folded up, I don't want it to create too much bulk. So I wouldn't choose like a 220 like I have here, the cardstock. So then you need to take this cover of the blade off, and when you place it down, as I said, I'm not bothered about getting the full circle on it. You just need to make sure that when you've set it down that you've got the space on this side as well as on this side. So I'm not cutting it yet. Oh yeah, put things out of the way so you've got enough space to move around. See, I'm getting a bit close to the edge, so I'm just moving it down a little bit, but I've got plenty of space there. So if you need any bigger circles, you might have to use a bigger piece of cardstock. There is the little paper. I bought that as well. I thought about that at first because they are bigger sheets, but this is just an A4. So once you've decided that it sits properly and you've got enough space, I thought about making it a bit bigger than half a circle just in case I want to tab. You just press this down, you hold it really firmly, and then you start cutting. I tell you what, I will actually start from this side. So you start cutting by pressing the blade down and then moving around. Oh, that ideally your cardstock doesn't move, so hold that in place as well. And as you can see, I've also got my green mat out. So, and that's all there is to it. Before you lift this up, make sure it's cut through properly, which it has. So I can take this off now, and this is all I need. So as I said, I wanted a little bit of tab, so that's why I went a little bit bigger, but I still need to cut this straight. So I need to work out where my 4 inches are. I'm just eyeballing this. This is the top of the circle. So this would be my mark. So if I want some tabs, I'll probably have to cut it off here. Just about there. So I will just do that with my scissors. Could get the guillotine out, but I won't. Sorry if I'm going off camera in the meantime. It's a big project, just by the scale, so probably can't help that. So, I'll tell you what I will do, and that was my original thought. Just getting this off here. Hoping I'm not making a mistake by not doing it on this one. I will just fold this in half without scoring it, and this is probably where a lighter weight would even be better, but it's doable as long as you burnish it thoroughly. So, and then I need to make sure that I'm not folding it on the corner here, because the 4-inch mark is there. Let me just check that again. I'll tell you what I will actually do. I will put a line here across. I might make it more complicated by having it bigger than half a circle. So yeah, I think once I've marked this now, let me just show you, and I know where the center is, I think what I will do is, how do I do that? I need to put some score lines in, but I might just keep on folding. I tell you what, I'll cut this off so it is the right shape, although it does look wonky. I forgot I only need a quarter of a circle anyway. So let me just fold this over. Apologies if you think like I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. It's because I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. I'm trying to keep that curve there and keeping the tab. Lift this up in a second. So, and then I think if I keep on folding this, now this to the middle, let me zoom in a little bit as well. I'll fold this to the middle. I might have to do this again in a lighter cardstock. And do the same on this side. So just folding that over to mark it on this side. I definitely want to score this flap. So, and then I need to fold these all again, I think, so that it folds up even more. So, and this is where it might get tricky because we're getting really thin here at the bottom. But I think as long as you burnish them thoroughly, you're probably okay. So I'm folding now this score line onto that one. Have to pinch it a little bit for that as well, especially at the bottom. But it does work. Just need a little bit of patience. Even if it's not perfect at the bottom, it doesn't matter. So same here. try to pinch it at the bottom, pinch it in place, work your way up and make sure these two score lines meet up there. But as I said, this will be easier the thinner your cardstock is. And one more, and then I need to work out where we have to put the mountain and the valley folds in. But we're getting there. If this is too confusing with the flap, you might just as well just do the circle and create the flaps on the cardstock on the side, but I wanted to avoid that. So I'm now folding them. I want this flap to sit on the front. So I'm creating a mountain valley, and I'm folding all the others accordingly. So it's a bit tricky at the bottom here. It's definitely a bit unaligned, if that's a word. Pinch that again a little bit. Once I've done that, once I've got them all in place, I'm going to burnish the whole thing again. Every single fold now that is in place. And yes, it's a bit fiddly, but I think it will be fine once it's done. And yeah, it's a bit messy at the bottom there. I might have to just cut that off a little bit and hide that a little bit. I don't know yet. But my idea is that, so if this now sits like this on the bottom of the bag, and this one sits on the front, do I want it at the bottom of the bag? No, on the front of the bag, and this is a flap, it can open up like this. Let me just demonstrate that. If I find the panel, here it is. Let me zoom out. So this would be attached in here, and this would be attached to the front, and then hopefully it would sit in place like this. But I'm not happy with the bottom bit, so I think I will just do the same thing again, but in a thinner cardstock. I'll just find something, but you've maybe understood the process of it. So I hope so anyway. It's not a great tutorial, this part, but anyway, I hope you've understood it. This certainly worked so much better with a lighter cardstock. If you are not bothered about creating the concertina like this, I think you could create a longer strip, 4 inches high, and then whatever you would need at this length, and maybe just glue it at the bottom, but it will open slightly different and you will have a bit more bulk at the bottom, and that's what I didn't want. When I created these two, I made sure that the flaps are on either sides of on the opposite side. So this one's facing the right hand side, this one's facing the left hand side, but I think that comes automatically if you cut them from one half circle. So just leveling this one out a little bit because I got that a little bit wonky. I've also cut this little wedge here, and I've also cut a little bit off at the bottom where it was getting a bit funny, but this will be good enough now. So what I need to do now is glue these flaps that are left onto the front of the card, and I will actually have it a bit further to the top rather than having it at the bottom. Mine's are like 2 millimeters out, but I'd rather have that finishing neatly at the top. And then yeah, I'll have a think what step will be next. I think I will actually use some red tape for that. This one might be a bit too wide, or no, I tell you what, I will just use my quick wrap glue. It will take a moment to dry, but it will just be as sturdy. Because this doesn't look too neat now, I'm going to put another panel of cardstock just on the inside. I've just cut some more of these tags. This is still 4 inches high, but because we've got the score lines here and the flaps coming in a little bit, this is only just under 6 3/4, so it depends on what size flap you've cut to start with. So I tested it and I had to cut it down again and again so it just fits in between those score lines, because you don't want anything to interfere here with the mechanism. I'm actually just noticing again, yeah, I have to cut it down just a slither again, so because when I fold these up, this one's to warp, so rather have it a little bit slimmer than getting in the way there. And as always, I will glue this down with the Cosmic Shimmer again.